People in the gallery were heard to have shouted out "bad snitches" as 6 men and a teenager were found guilty for the st of a boxer in the heart, leaving him to die. The men were given a combined jail term of 46 years, to the shock and horror of their distraught supporters. Liverpool Crown Court heard that boxer Anthony Dodson had been in a nightclub in Liverpool town centre, Victoria Street, on Wednesday, December 27th, with mates, when a scrum of rowdy clubbers entered the same nightclub a few at a time at roughly 2:30 in the morning. These brutes, these thugs, were Milne Critchley, Adam Draper, Duffy, Jordan Kinsella, Eugene Mason-Lamb, George Miller and Cameron Quinn, along with a 17-year-old who cannot be named. The all-out brawl started when silly George Miller threw a hook inside the Safe House nightclub. Immediately, George and pals, who a judge says acted like a pack of wild animals out for red, had swarmed everyone in the vicinity. One man was struck with a bottle before falling to the ground, dazed. He was then booted. The same bottle was then picked up by George Miller's entourage and then launched to other club goers, which scalped another man. The door staff in the nightclub struggled to contain the brawl for the first 10 minutes. However, some of George Miller's friends had been escorted out of the nightclub. Shortly before 4 a.m, Keir Robinson had left the nightclub. He did not know that some of the men that had been ejected from the club was waiting outside, still mingling, and they were amped up and ready for a scrap. An estimated 6 men then surrounded Keir, and he was booted and struck with fists. It was alleged that Duffy then pulled out a blade. Other people within Lee's group had items, including glass and a large fan. When Anthony Dodson and Keir Robinson's friend Alex Murphy tried to intervene, Alex was bladed in the lower back with a shard of glass and then jabbed with a blade. Alex, Keir and others then retreated back inside with the help of bouncers. Milne, Lee, Cameron and the teenager attempted to get back inside the Safe House nightclub and even tried to land sneak on the bouncers, who were trying to shield Keir Robinson and Alex Murphy. It was reported that roughly 4 minutes later, the 4 victims came out again, and once again they were ambushed by Milne, Adam, Lee, Jordan, Eugene, George and Cameron. CCTV showed Anthony Dodson, Keir Robinson, Alex Murphy walking backward, backing away from the large group while the men kept approaching. At the same time as they approached, they were still throwing items. Sadly, things turned from bad to worse. During the scrap, Anthony Dodson lost sight of his friends. He was then alone, surrounded, outnumbered from all angles. The incident spilled out onto Chapel Street, and Anthony was struck and then bladed twice in the chest, to the heart, and then twice in the armpit. A severely injured Anthony Dodson managed to somehow make his way onto Church Street, where he collapsed. Anthony Dodson was found collapsed at the junction of Church Street and Whitechapel in Liverpool just after 5 a.m. The 21-year-old, who had aspirations as following in his dad's footsteps of being a professional boxer, was not breathing and had gone into cardiac arrest. Emergency care was given at the scene by a trauma team, and the boxer was then rushed to hospital. In the aftermath, CCTV showed George Miller and Duffy animated and excited shadowboxing in response to nearly killing someone. They then walked off chanting and hollering. In the aftermath as well, Milne and others took off their designer clothes and discarded them at Philmere Park in Everton, along with mobile phones, in an attempt to cover their tracks. They were set alight. Adam Draper, Cameron Quinn were arrested in Folkestone, Kent, after trying to flee the UK for France after paying for a lift as hidden cargo in the back of an Arctic lorry. As for Jordan and Eugene Mason-Lamb, they were arrested by police while they were just out and about enjoying their day without a care in the world. Now, Cameron Quinn was found guilty of 2 counts of wounding with intent and disorder. He was jailed for 12 years. When the sentence was read out, Cameron was said to have stood up and shrugged his shoulders nonchalantly. The judge told Cameron that it was principally because he equipped himself with the glass and he bladed another human being. George Miller admitted to disorder, but he was found guilty of wounding with intent. The 20-year-old was jailed for 10 years. Adam Draper was jailed for unlawful wounding and was jailed for 4 years. Milne Critchley was found guilty of wounding with intent and admitted to disorder. Milne was jailed for 10 years. The sentence was a shock to some people in the gallery as they sat there holding their gasps and their tears, but you could still hear them sobbing. And as for Kinsella, he was found guilty of unlawful wounding and disorder, and he was jailed for 4 years. And as for Anthony Dodson, it was just a miracle that he survived. After all, he had stopped breathing and suffered blades to the heart, not once but twice. He is a living miracle. Does the crime match the sentence? Let me know. Stay safe.